Hi guys, here's a quick tutorial on how you can set up custom questions for your club or for a division. In SNOWLINE, the questions that get asked of the members are pretty standard, name, address, gender, birthday, etc. But what if you wanted to ask something that was unique to your club, or maybe if you're a division, you wanted to ask something of the members of all the clubs? Well, that's where you'd use a custom question. If custom questions are configured, they show up in this section. Right now it's called club information request, but it could be, that might change. So right now I open that and I see that there's 3 questions in here. And one of them is a set of checkboxes where the member can select multiple. Another one is free-form text. And the third one is radio buttons. So how did these questions get here? Let's take a look. You configure them under Tools, Club Admin, and then under Club Setup, you go down to Custom Questions, number 4. I'm logged in under SilverStar, and so I see the questions that are that are relevant to SilverStar. Looking under the owner column, I see that there's 2 that we've created ourselves, and there's one that was pushed down to me from the division. So opening the first question here, number 3, I get a chance to actually make some changes. If I wanted to change the text, that's where I would change the wording. The question type is where we decide whether it's a checkbox or if it's a radio button, like the yes no was a radio button, then you can pick one of a number of options, but you only get to pick one. Checkboxes, you can pick multiple of the options that are presented. A drop-down list is similar to radio buttons, except that it's just a list, and you click on it and you pull the option that you want. And then there's free-form text, as many lines as you like, or a number where you can control your the range. So if you wanted between 1 and 10, then you would just put that in there. So you can also pick a section break, and that's just a horizontal line that divides up the area of your screen. So you can control what order you want your questions to come in down here in this display order. So you can number them, your questions, and they just come out in order from left to right and top to bottom. So you might start at 100 and call them 200, 300, 400, and then they would come out in that order. And that way, if you decide you want one between 1 and 100 and 200, you just make it 150. Who gets to see these questions? That's the member type field. If I wanted to limit it to only students seeing that question, then I would pick the student box. If I'm a division and I want all my clubs to have to answer this question, then I would just click force downward, and that question then it would be seen by all the clubs. So what's the impact if the member doesn't put in an answer? Here's your control of that. You can make it necessary, in which case they can't finish registration until they actually answer your question. Or you can make it optional, which, as the name says, it's optional. Maybe you don't want to ask the question anymore, it's no longer relevant, then you would mark it as deprecated and that question wouldn't show up. The answers are still there for you for the future, but the questions wouldn't show up on the profile. How much real estate it takes on the screen, you can control with your display size, narrow being narrow, wide being right all the way across the screen, and medium being somewhere in the middle. And as the screens get wider or narrower, depending on the type of device, then then medium, for example, then expands and it covers the whole screen to make sure that there's always room. Here's my choices. Maybe I want to add another one, word of mouth. I would just type it there and hit save, and now word of mouth's there. It sorts them alphabetically. Maybe I don't want this one anymore. I would click the trash can and that's gone. So in a nutshell, that's how you register your new questions for your members to answer. If you have questions of me, contact me anytime. I'm happy to go through this with you and answer whatever questions you might have. Thanks for listening.